You're listening to Squatch Talks Podcast. Real stories and real encounters told by real researchers. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm a little bummed.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm a lot bummed, actually. So, Pine Barrens.
Okay.
Notice anything different? I will say.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks
it
real
does,
good.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this is rubber. This isn't silicone.
Yeah.
And the directions were wrong.
That sucks. That really sucks.
I'm not even going to show you the cast because it's in 50 pieces down in the basement.
Yeah, that really sucks, man.
Here's the patty.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Nice, right?
Right.
The only thing that broke was right here, the toes. So that's an easy fix. Elmer's glue, and boom, we're good. Anyway, I figured, hey, we can start off talking about that, and then who knows? Maybe maybe these guys do decide to join us. Who knows?
Yeah. At least somebody can support me.
Oh, this one weighs a ton.
Look at that.
Walla walla. I didn't clean this one yet, so it's still pretty dirty, but yeah. And it's only 15.5 inches long.
Oh,
I thought it was bigger than that. 8 inches across by the ball, but it's only 15.5 inches long according to his tape measure. I'll have to remeasure it, but that's a heavy sucker, man.
Yeah.
That's why we only had enough. We only had enough juice to make 3 molds. We were supposed to make 6. Thank God. Oh well, I don't know. I mean,
I'm glad I didn't send mine down with you, or crystals, I should say.
Well, it's funny though how mine, the recast that I made, was the one that lasted the most because the original one I made from the Pine Barrens didn't use dental casting stone.
Wow.
I added the rebarb, with the bamboo skewers, but I didn't use dental casting stone. So that one, man, I'll tell you, it cracked when he was placing it into the clay on the bottom because you want to keep the silicone from going underneath. It's a whole process. I learned how to do it and I filmed it too. So I'm going to refilm it, of course, when we go to do it the right way.
Yeah.
But we built the boxes. We took measurements first, built the boxes, put on the bottom. Then we came in. I put the clay in on the bottom of each one. And then he put the cast in and then built up the rim around the edge and then painted it with this release stuff.
Right.
So then we went into the basement to start mixing up the base with the activator, and I did the vigorous stirring. So it was a real team effort here, we did everything right according to
the directions. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then when it came time, like he came back the next day. And I'll tell you what. Well, one of the things instead of screwing in the bottom board, the flat piece on the bottom, I suggested, why don't we just use these, small white nails I have to attach it to the frame, right? And that should have been okay.
Should have been.
But when it came, we couldn't even get it apart because it was like stuck to the wood even with the release.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. And I'm like using a straight edge, you know what I mean? I'm like trying to get it to come off. We're both pulling on it. It was like, he's like, dude, we should have been done 20 minutes ago. Like we would have been done in 20 minutes.
Wow.
2 hours later, I'm like looking at all this destruction. Of course, Heather wasn't too pleased when she found out.
Can imagine.
Luckily, it wasn't one of the ones she bought. She did say, I'm not allowed to use that one. Ever.
Yeah.
So, oh, man. So, what are you going to do, though, right? Like, there's nothing I can do. So, you know what? When Patrick came back the next day and brought me some samples, he felt so bad. He lost sleep over it, believe it or not. And I said, dude, I told you when you were leaving not to sweat it.
Right.
Shit happens,
That just means he's a nice guy.
He is. And that's the thing. And he's from Michigan. You know what I mean? People from the Midwest are just generally pretty good people, I think. Those flyover states,
Yeah.
But So that was really nice of him to do. And he came by, and I said to him, this morning I had this brilliant idea. I said, I could take my original, what's left of it, and put it into the mold and then add casting material around it and fuse it together.
Yeah, you could.
And he said, you know what? That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
That might work.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, like cast a cast into a cast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a shot. That way, at least a good portion of it will be the original.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll have a solidified dental casting stone.
Holding it together.
Holding it together. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The Walla Walla cast, which I broke by pressing it down, only had one crack in the smaller portion, okay, which was thinner.
Yeah.
And so I figured, hey, I could just glue that one. But I thought, let me reach out to Jeff. So I look up Dr. Meldrum.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to send them an email. Hey, they're coming on. Hey, folks, we've got some guests joining us from Sasquatch University. Welcome to Squatch Talks podcast. And we are here tonight with some guests from Canada, We have some members of the Sasquatch University joining us. I think those of you who are keeping up with things, you might have heard me mention that we might be having these guys on. So we have a few of the members joining us, and I'm going to let each of them give a brief introduction. How about we start with you, Ryan?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Ryan Willis. I'm the founder and president of the Trent University Sasquatch Society, and now a host of the new TV show coming to Wild TV, Sasquatch University.
Cool. And Cody?
Hey guys, my name is Cody Meisner. I'm also from up here in Canada, in Ontario. I'm 25, got a background in journalism in the military, and I'm going to be kind of one of the co-hosts on Sasquatch University.
Awesome. And lastly, but not least, Joel.
Yeah, my name is Joel, and I am the vice president of the Trent Sasquatch Society. Ryan kind of ended up roping me into his show. We go to the same university. I'm a couple of years behind, but we both joined the same club that he started, and now I'm on this show with him.
Perfect. That's awesome. Kind of like what I did with Nathan,
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, Nathan, let's do a podcast. Well, no, I'm glad that you guys were able to jump on tonight. It was kind of a short notice. We put this together pretty quick, So you were contacting us in the hopes, I think, to promote this new television show, right? On Wild TV, is that correct?
Yeah, we really want people to know about it, and more importantly, if you're from Ontario or close by, not maybe within driving distance, we want to know if you guys have had an encounter, and so anyone listening, just feel free to reach out and tell us what you've seen, or if you have any videos, footprints, hairs, anything Sasquatch related. We want people to know that we're looking for witnesses to have on the show.
And any evidence of any kind. How is that going to be presented? When I say Wild TV, I'm assuming it's going to be visual as well as audio, correct?
Yeah. So it's a TV network up here in Canada. It's primarily hunting and fishing network, but we're doing a Bigfoot. We're not bringing guns out or anything, but we're doing a Bigfoot hunting show for them.
Nice, kind of like a Les Stroud Bigfoot survivor, right?
Yeah. It would be a lot like that, I suppose. Yeah.
Nice. So what's the premise of the show going to be? Like, you're going to be going out to different places, like on site?
Yeah. So I guess the premise is the three of us are going out to a different area that we've received some reports from. So wherever that may be, we're still kind of collecting reports now and picking some of those locations. But so we'll be going out there, meeting up with the witnesses, following up with what they saw, and then doing a night investigation, trying to do some different experiments to see what we can stir up, that sort of thing. But another cool thing that I think will be a little bit different about this show is we kind of want to investigate the different avenues of Sasquatch theory, I suppose you could say. so you know how there's maybe some of the woo theories, like the
Woo.
interdimensional stuff,
Woo.
and you get maybe the ghost Sasquatch or spirit Sasquatch, those type of things, or alien Sasquatch. So we kind of want to look into every theory, every avenue, and take a very academic stance where we don't discredit anything until we've gone and checked it out. So I think that'll be something that's a bit different about the show.
Interesting. Well, we are, Bigfoot researchers, of course, and we primarily started our program revolving around real stories and real encounters told by real researchers. That was always our, tagline. Okay. But in the event, of running out of our own material after a year or so of telling stories, we've also brought on some other guests that are real researchers telling their stories. But we did have a couple of shows that we delved into some of the other possibilities, some of what we formerly called woo, we now call paranormal parallels.
Yeah.
So we've done some episodes that included some strange events that occurred out in the field. And myself, I'm like a big flesh and blood guy. I always have been. I don't really prescribe to the intradimensional or the portals or the UFO type connections, although I'm always open to hear other people's opinions. But I was on an expedition that we had in Pennsylvania with Nathan a couple of years ago. I had an experience that really had me questioning all of that and saying so. But it'd be interesting to see how you're able to. Do you have a team of like other people, or is it going to be just the three of you? You're going to have a camera person, an audio guy. I mean, how does that all work?
Yeah, we'll bring people out with us, and then probably on occasion we'll bring other society member executives, and the group at the university has over 200 of us students in it now, actually.
Oh,
So
wow.
probably from time to time we'll take some of them out with us to just have a few extra bodies out in the field, and then we'll have people there with cameras and stuff, obviously for filming the show. But
Sure.
so yeah, that's kind of what it'll look like out there.
Cool.
Well, without giving too much away, I don't know if you're saving stuff for the show or whatever, but did you guys have an experience, that you obviously wanted to all be in the club, so,
Well, except for Joel, he was roped in.
That's right. No, I mean, what got you interested in the subject? What made you want to join the club?
Yeah, so if I go first, I've just always had a huge interest in Sasquatch from a very young age, and I've never even had an encounter I could definitively say was related to Sasquatch. I've been out in the woods and heard some strange howls and screams and those type of things, but obviously I can't say with certainty that's what it was. But I've just always had a huge interest. And then by the time I got to Trent University, founded the Trent Sasquatch Society, and got to know a lot of the well-known researchers that I think everyone kind of knows in the field, and learn from all of them, which has been a really cool experience. And then I guess you guys kind of have different Cody and Joel have different paths, but so I'll let you guys get to them now. But that's kind of how I got interested.
Go ahead, Cody.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm actually, it's funny, I'm kind of the outsider looking in with this group. I'm not actually I'm not a student. I'm a journalist. I've got some time in the military as well up here in Canada. And Sasquatch always been something I was really interested in. High school, I would come home, it would be Survivor Man, and then back right after that was Destination Truth with Josh Gates. I don't know if anyone remembers that show.
Sure.
But and I would watch those all the time, and I kind of developed this interest. And it wasn't actually until probably the last couple of years where I had read an account that somebody had of an encounter of Bigfoot in Ontario, and I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and I was kind of like, there's no way that these things are here. This is like a Pacific Northwest problem. If they are even real, like, why are people looking? And she just said, well, why couldn't they be here? So I've kind of approached the subject more of like, I'm trying to prove that they're not here rather than prove that they are here.
Right.
So it's trying to be about going into those areas and identifying stuff. And I actually met Ryan through an ad they did in my kind of local area here. I was researching here, and he put me in touch with some people with some accounts, and we kind of developed that relationship into the show.
Yeah. So you're the Renee of the group.
Kind of, yeah.
All
It is
right.
it's a good way to go about it too, especially when you have vocals and stuff on recording. You have to compare it against everything that we have recorded. Otherwise, you know, you can't
Well,
really
and it's
prove what
funny,
it is.
vocalization is what really brought me to get in touch with Ryan. I had found an audio clip on Facebook that really stood out to me, and kind of reached out to him with that bit of evidence. And we interviewed the witness. We got some content on that. Definitely some interesting stuff to follow up on.
Cool.
Awesome.
It was kind of funny because the witness that had that recording reached out to me through our website, but then Cody also found her with it in like a paranormal group in their area, and it's kind of funny just getting the same person. But Cody, you should tell them about the little encounter you had there this summer.
That's right. So while I was looking into one of the areas, so I'm in Owen Sound, Ontario, kind of not just like the gateway to Northern Ontario is what I would call it. And I'm out in the escarpment in this area that's kind of known. There's been a lot of deaths in that area, mainly suicides. It's very rocky. I've heard stories of people's names getting called from the woods, more kind of ghost paranormal than Bigfoot stuff, but it's a large wooded area around here. So I was checking it out. I was going down the trail one morning, probably about, I don't know, 8 a.m. or so. Birds are going, and then all of a sudden everything goes quiet, and I hear something moving through the tree line to my left. And there's a little trail up ahead, so I jolt down that. And as I'm going down, the sound is getting a lot louder, and it's definitely something moving through brush. And I get to a point where I stop. It's probably going on about 50 feet in front of me, 50 yards, I would say. And then I stop. I hit the tree with the wood. It's a cliche, but I was like, you know what? Let's see if I get a response. And a couple big bangs later, and the next thing I know, a branch comes at me like this, end over end. And I picked up the camera. I turned around and I walked out of that spot. I think I called Ryan about 5 minutes later, and I was like, "Hey, man, some weird stuff just went down." Wow. But I'm not ready to say it was definitively Bigfoot. It could have been somebody up there messing with me. But one of the things that's kept me interested for sure.
That's awesome. Well, hey, that's pretty exciting. I definitely would go back to that area in your quest to,
Oh, I have been. And it's funny, I put up trail cams, and any other time I put up trail cams in any other area, I get a shot of the animal that takes my food. There's one spot in this area that every time I put my trail cam there, the food goes missing and I get nothing on the cam.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And it's just those little bits of the phenomenon that kind of go together that makes me question it. So
things that make you say,
And it would be one thing if it was just haphazardly through with researchers, but it's every researcher says the exact same thing.
And I think that's the big thing for me is like you get people that are very skeptical of the topic, but they're not willing to look at these consistencies that make us question it, right? So
right.
Yeah, we talked about that, as a matter of fact, a week or two ago, about all this anecdotal evidence that's collected by different researchers. And we have, anthropologists that have attended some of our expeditions in the past. And so, we get to hear some pretty scientific backgrounds discussing these things with us. On this next expedition we're doing in Pennsylvania, I have a DNA scientist coming along also.
Very cool.
It's just getting better and better,
Well, and it's that type of like seriousness. You need to get the topic looked at more seriously too, right? Get the academics to come take a look at what we're finding.
It's absolutely true.
Which scientist, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I can't divulge specific names because they're attending the expedition. Some people, especially ones that have some credibility or some kind of background in law enforcement or military, they choose to remain anonymous sometimes.
I know a lot of people that do that type of thing.
Yeah, and you know what? It's cool. I don't mind. We're always happy to talk to witnesses or anybody. If they wish to remain anonymous, they're welcome to tell us their information. I had a woman call me last week who had a dog man encounter here in New Jersey, and she totally just wanted to remain anonymous. I managed to get her first name, but aside from that, she just gave me the information. Was like, "Hey, I don't want to be on the show. I just wanted to tell you about it," kind of thing.
Yeah, no, we do that too. We keep all of the reports we collect confidential unless we get permission to do whatever with it or
it's important.
It to whoever,
And honestly, I think the encounter she experienced, if indeed it's true, it was most likely a Sasquatch that she encountered, not a dog man. Especially here in this area. We're not like in the Wisconsin area, where a lot of these reports come from. But hey, you never know. And again, it's just nice to have somebody that somebody can come talk to. And that's why you guys putting yourselves out there and making a safe haven for people who have strange encounters to come and talk. It's a great thing. It really is,
Well,
Yeah,
I would say
absolutely.
oh, sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just, yeah. I
He's
was
just
pretty much
agreeing
done.
with me.
Well, I was going to say one of my goals for the show, obviously, is to get some academics on site looking at what we find, but also trying to break down some of the stigma around these accounts. If people are actually running into these things all over the place, like it's something that should be talked about and known, so we can identify the hazards that come with having these creatures nearby humans, right? So if we can break down those stigmas and get people out comfortable talking about it, we might actually be able to, one, protect the species, but then better prepare ourselves more in the woods too. So I just see it as a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Well,
Joel, did
I
you
was
want
going
to
to say that the
I'm
poor
sorry.
guy got roped into coming in onto the thing.
I
And now
know.
you're like boxing him out and he's not allowed to talk. So what do you have to say?
How'd you get into this, Joel?
Well, I've kind of always liked the outdoors. I was in scouting when I was younger. I did a lot of camping. And my summer job, I go out to British Columbia on the West Coast, work in the middle of nowhere. I guess you might not know where Prince George is, but it's like a Canadian city. It's like really far north. That's where the company's based out of, and then all their work is even further north than that.
Is that near 100 Mile?
It's a bit further north than 100 Mile.
Okay.
But it's in BC. It's in
That's
kind
there.
of that. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. So the company's based out of there. We work even further north. But I spent a lot of time outside in the woods, and I've experienced quite a few things that I just can't explain. I've had one really strange encounter. It was really scary, and it was actually not in BC, and it wasn't in the middle of nowhere. It was when I was hiking on a trail at Trent University, which is pretty close to Peterborough. There's 100,000 people who live in Peterborough. It's a decent sized city, but there was a trail in a wooded area, and that's where I had my weirdest encounter. So I've always liked.
Care to elaborate at all? I mean, our viewers love to hear.
Okay, yeah.
Stories.
But yeah, because of that encounter, I want to look more into Southern Ontario, because it's obviously there's something going on here as well. It's not just in the middle of nowhere in heavily forested areas. But yeah, I'll go into my encounter. So I was walking along this peninsula, pretty small peninsula, but it's a one-way trail. So you walk all the way to the end of it. You're out in the middle of this lake, and then you walk all the way back along the same trail. So I was going towards the end. This is at 12, maybe 1 in the morning. I was just going for
Perfect
a
time.
Perfect time. Yeah, I get to the end of this island, and I hear something behind me on the peninsula. So it's okay, if I want to, leave, I have to go along the same path. And this thing gets into the water. And I mean, it is late April, so the water, it's not frozen, but it's really cold. And it sounds really heavy. So I'm like, okay, why? My first thought is, why is a dude going swimming at 1 a.m. when the water's freezing cold? That didn't really make sense. But then, whatever this thing is, swims along the side of the peninsula, right to where I am, and all you can see is a little bit coming out of the top of the water. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's a beaver, but nothing. It made a sound of getting into the water, similar to the sound of what a person would make. It was a really big splash. So maybe it's a bear. Bears sometimes go swimming as well. But it swims up, and it's this little thing poking out of the water, and I'm not moving. I'm standing there. I'm like, okay, should I run away? I don't know. And it starts making this growling sound. It's kind of combined with the water. You can hear it bubbling and then growling at the same time.
Wow.
And I looked into a bunch of sounds as soon as I got home. And the closest I could find was maybe a wolverine, but They're not very prevalent in that area, and you know, it was probably, I think, much bigger than that. But
Wolverines get pretty big, don't they? I mean, how big does a Wolverine get? Do they weigh 100
think-
pounds?
yeah, probably around there.
Okay.
I'd have to double check.
But I don't.
But
like
yeah, that
you
was
said, though, to
that
have
was
a
one of the
Wolverine that close-
potential. Yeah, because it's like right next to a city, and normally they're pretty rare.
Yeah.
And they stay away from.
Oh man,
From
I would have been out of there.
But yeah, no.
Oh,
As,
yeah.
as soon as I
Sure.
as soon as it started growling, I'm like, okay, I'm not sticking around to find out what this is. I run all the way back down the path, and I don't look back until I reach the road, and then okay, it's time to go home. So then I just walk home, and then I look into the sound, but that was pretty scary. Was it a Sasquatch? I don't know. But it was probably one of the weirdest encounters I've had that I have yet to explain.
That's spooky, man.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've had something strange occur. So that kind of piqued your interest a little bit. Plus, you've been out in BC, okay, up in no man's land, where we know there's tons of activity and stories from the indigenous peoples, of course, right? And I don't know if the business you were involved in was related to the lumber industry at all or not.
Yeah, it was reforestation, so it was tree planting.
go.
I wasn't planting the trees. I was a cook for the camp, but it
But
was
you were
related to
talking
the forest
to-
industry. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're talking to the other workers, I'm sure. Didn't anybody ever mention the Sasquatch?
Yeah. I mean, there were quite a few of the workers who've been working out there for like 5-6 seasons in a row. Had like their own Sasquatch stories. They're like, oh yeah, he's definitely real. One time I was planting and a Bigfoot just ran through my piece. And I'm like,
Wow.
are you telling the truth? Are you pulling my leg? But a lot of people who were there had experiences.
Man.
And also they see tons of bears too. Like maybe once a day someone will see a bear at least. But
Well, so it's not
like
confused.
Mhm.
Oh, sure.
And then like the crew bosses always carry like either bear spray or something like that. Like people are very familiar because if they've been doing this for years, they're not going to confuse it with something else.
Right.
But yeah, it was
That's
a very
awesome.
interesting place to work. One night, because my hours were really weird, I had to be up at like 2:30 to cook breakfast. But one day before breakfast, I went out down the logging road and then walked out into the middle of the woods. Probably not the best idea, considering the location. But then, I
mountain lions
really
and
find
shit up there,
anything,
don't you?
but yeah, that was in hindsight. I'm cooking breakfast and I'm like, oh, I'm lucky I'm still here.
It'll be breakfast.
But yeah,
Unbelievable.
a lot of people have
I'm sure
have
Yeah.
interesting
Well,
experiences in that line of work.
I had a feeling. Now you guys are going to be doing a lot of your research and doing this program, this television show, though, in the Ontario area, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
At least to begin. If you
Yeah, we're looking into the possibility of picking another province, maybe doing an episode or two there. That's something I'd really like to do, but we kind of have to figure that out with the network and everything.
Well, you're
But,
gonna have to reach out to one of my friends in the area. He's from Ontario, Todd Prescott.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
Todd. Yeah.
Okay. He's great, and he's also a talented musician, so maybe he can do some of the background music for you.
Yeah,
But
I've
no,
watched
Todd.
some of the videos of his band and stuff. Yeah.
Todd's my mentor.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So,
he's fantastic. I was
I
talking
mean-
to him the other night, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm doing a couple of expeditions with Nathan this year, and my first one is in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. I have actually a couple of people coming down from Ontario
Oh yeah,
Oh, really?
to attend our
Nice.
New Jersey expedition. How cool is that?
Very
That's-
good.
that's really cool.
Place.
Yeah. Again, not disclosing any names, but this is the kind of stuff we find. Wait, that's the Washington one. This is the kind of stuff we find on our expeditions in the Pine Barrens. Okay, that's a mold I made over the weekend of one of my track casts. Unfortunately, the raw material was sent to us, so this is rubber, not the silicone. So in taking out the cast, it destroyed my original. So I don't
That's too
recommend
bad.
you do that.
I've
No.
got to ask on the Pine Barrens thing. You guys ever run into Jersey Devil out there or what?
Well, of course. I mean, with the Pine Barrens, right?
That's right.
But it's funny you should ask that, though, Cody, because we actually feel, my personal opinion is that it's a misidentification. People are perpetuating that folklore of the Leeds 13th devil child, okay, with encounters that they're having with a Bigfoot type creature who's,
Right.
7.5, 8 feet tall, red glowing eyes. And when their arms are flailing like this, they've got the hair hanging down, which could appear to somebody as wings, and it's screaming at them in a high pitch, shrieking kind of, sound. People are misidentifying it. So,
That's
I mean,
a very cool theory. I haven't heard that one before.
oh, thank you. But yeah, I've spoken to witnesses who thought they had encountered the Jersey Devil, and last week I wore my Jersey Devil shirt, and there's a place that we go to eat nearby where we have our base camp that's called Lucille's, and they got a statue of a Jersey Devil out front.
So cool.
So yeah, I mean, hey, we got a lot of that kind of folklore and history in the Pine Barrens, but me personally, I believe it's Bigfoot.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And it's another research friend of mine, Art. I'm going to go hang out with Art and another member of my NASBRO team on Saturday, Regina, who she also was on the same Finding Bigfoot episode as I was. She was the scientist on the episode. So we're getting together to watch M. Night Shyamalan, his new movie, The Knock on the Cabin. So we're getting together Saturday to go do this. So I won't be live, live chatting with you guys when we're airing this episode. Sorry, but I'll be there in spirit. But yeah, Ontario is definitely, I think, a good spot for you to do this research. And, if you talk to researchers like Todd, probably get steered in the right direction,
That's for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. The amount of stuff he has is just incredible.
Ah.
I'm sure you guys have seen.
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually sent him a magazine up to add to his collection. So it was pretty cool to be included in all that memorabilia,
Yeah.
You guys have anything else you want to talk about about your show?
Yeah, actually, cool thing we're doing to kind of give back to the Bigfoot community. I forgot to mention. So to kind of help, expand the budget for the show, we have some merch now, and then but 10% of that monthly we're going to give back to a Bigfoot research group.
Sweet.
To
Cool.
help them get a bit more funding too, and
Nice.
hopefully everyone can kind of benefit from that. But that's a cool thing we're doing, and hopefully
awesome.
People listening will take an interest in our website for reports too, and then we have that on there as well.
What kind of merch do you have, Ryan?
Oh yeah, so
Joel could probably answer that better.
I'm currently designing it. We have so far stickers like to put on laptops, and we have a T-shirt. But we're gonna have within the next few days, because we've just been working on setting it up recently. We're gonna have hoodies, maybe backpacks, other. I'm pretty sure the custom clothing website we use has tons of different things, like maybe even camping gear, just water bottles, etc. But yeah, it's gonna be.
So you're gonna be using like a Teespring type of
service. Yeah, like we're probably gonna do drop shipping.
Cool.
Very good.
And
Nice.
we have it up on the website already, so hopefully by Saturday when this airs, we'll have a bunch more products up by then. But Sasquatch University.com is where we have our form for reports and then all that as well. So
say it again.
Sasquatch University.com.
Yeah.
I'll have the link in our description, of course, for you people viewing, and also on the podcast platforms when we get to that. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind on our episodes with the podcasting platforms, but yeah, I'm still a little bit limited.
Sorry, if you don't mind me asking, I was going to pick your guys' brain. I mean, we're kind of going into this fairly new to the Bigfoot field. You guys are seasoned expeditioners here. What are some tips we could take with us into the field that might get us some good responses?
Nathan, go ahead. You take this one.
Well, I bet my thoughts are quiet. I don't do any provocation, and I don't do any wood knocks personally. I go out and I act like a camper or a hiker or whatever, and I let them watch me. If you make some noise, it allows them to get a little closer, so you can maybe get a better shot of one. You know, get one on audio or video of some sort.
And one
So
thing Nathan
that's-
likes to do is hang out by the dumpsters. If you're at like a state park or
Oh yeah,
he suggests being at the dumpsters in the
It
early
works.
morning hours, because that's typically where an opportunist like a hungry Squatch might be
Yeah.
seen.
I know some investigators that'll go to the dumpsters at a campground on a Monday, because there's nobody usually goes to the campground on a Monday. Everybody goes home Sunday. So he goes there on a Monday night, and that's usually when the Squatches come out.
Yeah. And I
When the bears come out too, but
yeah. One again, it depends on where you are as far as
Right.
you know how we go about this. But
yeah,
yeah,
you guys are way out more in the woods than we are, I think.
well, no, not where they're at. I mean, they're going to have to travel a little bit to get
Wow,
way out.
true. Yeah.
Okay, but anywhere you have a significant area of woodland, you know, with water is important. So I do recommend focusing your efforts in places where you have adequate ground cover, water, and food source. Those are the main things to keep in mind. All right, I was again taught by not only Todd but another researcher from British Columbia, and one of the things they drilled into me though was being stealthy. So initially I'll go out to an area and I'll be real stealthy and sit quietly for a while I adapt to the sounds around me, and I kind of get to know the local woodland creatures, so I know what to expect also. And depending on the activity, if nothing really comes up on us, then I'll set up, we set up a little base camp, and then I'll go on about a hike for about an hour or so, leaving the base camp empty with some recorders going. Okay, some either digital recorders or thermal imagers or whatever. And usually try to leave some treats out also as maybe some incentive for something to come into camp, you know what I mean? But also if something is approaching, right, you can hear like the branch or the footfalls or whatever, the noise coming into your area, then I might just give a gentle little whoop or a little whistle just to let them know that I know they're there, kind of thing. Like, hey, how you doing? Again, it depends on where I'm at. That's the best way I can explain it to you, though. So, I wouldn't be afraid. They're not out to harm us. Okay. Your best defense against the Bigfoot is a bright light. So we always have our headlamps with the red LED. Okay. We usually use our red LEDs for hiking and getting around purposes. But a tactical flashlight or a bright headlamp will definitely deter any harm from coming to you.
The best tool against a Bigfoot might be a camera.
I was going to say, or use a camera or a game camera, and they won't come near you.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing, like having a show, because we've been talking about getting out and doing some filming out in the forest and really, following ourselves around as we're doing expeditions and things. And we did that a couple of times already. It's tough. It really is tough. And if you're trying to get results in activity, it could interfere with the results you get. And of course, the Finding Bigfoot team and everything, I went out with them a number of times and saw how they go traipsing around with all their crew and everything. It really disrupts activity. So keep that in mind. The less you have on your team, the less lights and noise, the better off you're going to be, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you're trying to be a spectacle, that sometimes works out. They come in, and if you have some people outside the spectacle watching you doing stuff, they might get some activity on the outskirts of your group. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Sort of have a group outside watching the group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a really cool idea, actually.
To be watched. Yeah.
Is it going to be the three of you guys heading out together?
Yeah, most of the time, and then probably on occasion we'll bring
right.
some extras just from time to time. But yeah, we're still kind of sorting out the details of each episode and whatnot. But yeah.
Wow.
I think for me, like I really want to try to do a wide range of stuff. go in just the three of us, maybe break off individually for nights at certain points. Maybe even at one point, that's a great idea, Nathan. In my brain, my army side's kicking in, thinking of how we can set up that observation position,
Right.
to actually get some good view on that area as people are kind of pushing through. See if we stir up something. That's a great idea. I think we want to try all the low tech and high tech methods we can get our hands on.
We call that the Pied Piper kind of method, where we actually send a couple of teams in. They might do some back and forth provocations, and another team is hunkered down midway or towards the end of the return path with thermal imaging that can record. And so they're sitting quietly while these other two teams are going about doing their back and forth provocations, in the hopes that once they come together and they return to base camp, a Squatch will follow them back. So it's another technique that we're not supposed to disclose technically, but hey, we'll share that with you guys. In the event that you guys do get some good results with your merch, keep in mind NASBRO is always in need of funding to further our research. NASBRO.
Yeah, this ain't cheap.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely keep that in mind.
We're a North American Sasquatch Bigfoot Researchers Organization. Who better, right?
Well, and I think honestly, like for the donations for us, like it's about building that kind of community rapport. Like we want to be on good terms with everybody. We want to be able to reach out to other groups and share our findings and work together.
And
we're all going towards the same goal.
That's incredibly important, because it never happened before. Since the beginning of time, if you got a Bigfoot report, you didn't tell anybody about it, and that's one thing that's shooting us in the foot. We have to combine our efforts here, and the fruits of our labors will come quicker.
I was going to say that to Cody. I mean, good luck with that, because I've been doing this like 16 years already, and it's funny how I always want to share my information with other parties, other groups. And then of course, there's people that come on, they're like, oh no, I'm not telling you where I found that track impression. No way. Are you going nowhere? They think you're always trying to take their stuff and take it for your own. But if we don't share knowledge, if we don't, meld all this information, how are we going to further the research?
Right.
Like you mentioned earlier, I mean, I'm not setting out to protect the species necessarily. I'm not looking to protect them, because honestly, I think they've done pretty darn good on their own at this point. You know what I mean? I don't think they need my protection, but it's just like I agree with your philosophy, though. We really need to work together to really put to rest this mystery and to prove to the world that they do exist, and they're out there, and they're just like any other.
And we're not crazy, damn it.
No. Well, and I think that's a huge part of it, right? Like break down that stigma. Not everybody who sees something weird in the woods is a crazy person. Like oftentimes they're a normal person that just saw something weird.
Yeah, no doubt.
And just to float it out there, I'd love to go to Ontario. So
yeah, if you guys are ever up here, you have my email. Let us know. We'd love to go out with you guys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no,
we're sweet spots.
We're all about it. Hey, this is another mold I made over the weekend.
Look at that, eh?
That one's from Walla Walla, Washington.
Oh, isn't that where Meldrum had
well, that is, but this one is a Paul Freeman cast that I got from Dr. Meldrum. Yes, from 1982. And
he broke it.
And mine was autographed on the back.
Oh.
And now he broke it.
And that's why I got to call Jeff the other day. I was like, hey, Dr. Meldrum, it's Eric Spinner. I don't know if you remember me, but we had a nice conversation.
I actually just started his son's new book, kind of the Paul Freeman Files, I think it's called. And like going through some of the stuff that his dad went through. You're
talking about Michael Freeman's book. I just want to clarify.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Jeff's son. I didn't
No, Freeman there. And like the book is fantastic.
I've got Jeff's book here, The Legend of Science, one of them, of course. And I've also got the Sasquatch Field Guide up on my display here. This one, I think, actually, I have mine in my office, but this one I think is autographed to my wife.
I actually think this one's from Ohio.
To Heather.
I think this one wandered down from you guys up in Canada, because that thing's huge.
Yeah.
Boys, we need to get ourselves some casts now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm because we've actually gotten quite a few, I guess, footprint reports, and hopefully that keeps up. And I'm excited to document some of the Ontario ones up here.
We found 18 juvenile impressions on one of my first expeditions in the Pine Barrens, and I made casts of 5 of them originally, and then just this past April, my friend Art found some more by the same creek side. So he called me, and I went down the next day. It had gotten rained on, but yeah, they were still worth casting, I felt. So I made a few more. And
Are you
hey,
guys finding patterns when you find in these? Like, are you finding them all in the same season, the same time of year, same locations, or?
they do move around the area because, of course, Jersey is pretty landlocked when it comes to population. All right, but we have 1.2 million acres of forest in the Pinelands. Okay, and what we call the Pine Barrens. So there are green belts, though, that I find that they could move even out of state through. Okay, and they do swim, of course. So rivers are often avenues that they may use to travel. But yeah, they do move around. I don't think they necessarily migrate, but I do feel that they'll use up the food source in an area after 2 or 3 weeks, and then have to probably move 5 or 10 miles away to another area. Go ahead, Nathan.
To answer your question, though, yeah, they go to different areas, different times of year. It's kind of like they're following something, either treat food like apples or something. But I know my areas, they're in the south during this time of year, and they're in the north this time of year.
Okay.
They definitely move around.
And I think the migration thing's something we're going to look into, because I mean, in Ontario, you reach a point where it just turns into forest forever.
Yeah.
Or it turns into tundra. And then, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I've talked to that have the opinion where, in those warmer months, they're coming further south. And then, in those or like the winter months, they're kind of retreating back up north a little bit more for that cover. So it's interesting.
Yeah. You guys going to do anything with horses, like horseback stuff, or not?
I think it would depend if where we go.
If we can find some and get access to that, and it's within the budget and everything, I'd love to. I actually I've only horseback ridden a handful of times, but it's
because if you can get really far out really quiet that way. Nothing else is going to really care about hearing a horse walk around, because they're not walking on 2 legs. I think you could really get some good evidence that way.
Have you guys tried much stuff with dogs in the past?
No. Every time I heard anybody do anything with dogs with them, they always end up dead.
That's a fair point. Okay.
We should make a little note: don't take dog.
Yeah.
I'll keep a very
or with that.
Yeah. No. If they usually if they get anywhere close to them, they're either dead or you just never see them again. So
interesting.
I don't know if they keep them for pets or eat them.
Do you think having a dog would elicit a response more likely, though? Do you think they're interested in the dog?
No, I don't think they are at all.
Interesting.
I think it depends on the dog, though, honestly. I mean, generally speaking, they're not just out to kill dogs, but I think they may have some aversion to canines just simply because of past encounters with people hunting and things like that. Although
they can smell them or whatever. They know that they can smell them better than we can, so I think they just avoid them.
But also, I mean, we've talked about this, Nathan, that, there's potential that they may even kind of network with, coyotes or even wolves up in the far reaches of the north, that, they might benefit off of one another as far as a pack of coyotes getting some, benefit from the remains of a kill that a Sasquatch family makes, So who knows? Nobody's an expert.
Yeah.
We're still learning, but there's a possibility that they're not always afraid of dogs,
Awesome.
And if you're doing tracks in snow, if you're going to cast tracks in snow, you got to listen to how that works out, because I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. I heard a lot of different theories on how to do that if you're casting a footprint. I heard like saran wrap, the clear saran wrap.
Oh yeah.
Lay it in there and then pour the casting material in it so it doesn't distort the snow as much, and you can get it out. Or hairspray. Isn't hairspray another one?
I've heard hairspray before.
Yeah.
And see, Ontario is just such a hard spot to get tracks in general, because we got what they call the Canadian Shield running up here, which is just rock.
Yeah.
And I know in my area it's mostly rock and escarpment, and like I would say anything that is likely to be a track is more of an impression than a footprint.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, and you got permafrost too for how many feet? If it isn't rock, it's frozen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So snow would probably be your only bet to get a decent track cast.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just keep in mind though, with dental casting stone, it does get hot, so that would probably melt the impression fairly
Yeah.
quickly. So you might not want to use that if you're in snow or ice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That will melt the
Look
snow.
at us sharing researcher tips. This is
Yeah.
how it works.
That's right. That is how it's done.
That's perfect. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
it's the right way to do it.
Well, you'll have to attend one of our expeditions going forward because we do all these track casting, things and equipment demos. What kind of equipment do you guys have at your disposal? Out of curiosity.
We're still putting it together, to be honest with you. We're kind of rocking out of budgets out of our own pocket.
Yeah.
We got some trail cams, recorders, that kind of basic stuff. But in terms of like putting together casting kits, we're working on that still for the show. Even things like thermals, trying to get funding for that type of stuff too.
Cool.
Yeah, and then with the Trent Sasquatch Society, like, Joel, we pretty much don't get a budget yet, so it's kind of whatever
Yeah,
students
no.
can bring out on the
Mhm.
expedition and stuff usually.
Absolutely.
And then for the show, we're trying to get all that put together still. So
No doubt. But
Hey.
one of the best pieces of gear that you would, benefit by having early on would be a digital audio recorder. Okay.
Mhm.
I know you guys all have, smartphones and everything, but recording audio on your smartphone is not going to come across as clearly as it will with a digital recorder. And actually, Nathan and I use gear that we've actually gotten microphones from Kimbro Audio, which are these real sensitive microphones that are available in silver or gold styles. And they really do pick up some real detailed recordings.
Yeah,
So
they do.
that's a good one to look at.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like 128-bit or something like that. They are stereo, true stereo.
maybe after the show, if you guys had a minute, if you could shoot us an email just with some of the names and the recommendations and stuff, because we're going to be doing a big gear upgrade soon before we start filming. So want to get the best stuff.
Well, I told you, Ryan. I mean, we've talked about all this stuff in our Squatching 101 episode. You have to
That's
check
right.
that out on YouTube, where we give all this information out freely. But no, I'm kidding. I'll be happy to share this with you. Got a shameful plug, of course. I'll put the card up here in the corner. I was happy to, take your request to have you guys on, and
I'd love to hear more about your progress too. If you guys want to come back
Definitely.
again,
Oh yeah, we'd love to
keep coming
sure.
back every couple of months or so and keep us updated on what's going on.
Man, anytime
yeah.
you guys want to talk
We'd
about
love to.
Bigfoot, we're game.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Awesome.
I wanted to give you another opportunity just to get your name out there again. So tell us the email once more.
Yeah, so the website that has the thing that connects to the email
Yes.
is sasquatchuniversity.com.
Cool. And the group's name is?
Yeah, so the show is Sasquatch University, and then we're also known from the Trent University Sasquatch Society, of course. So
Nice.
so yeah, that's us, and that's where you can reach us.
And soon to be on Wild TV, available in Canada and hopefully in other parts of the world.
Yeah,
soon
the
enough.
states too, I believe. So I think people
Great.
down there can get it for
I
sure.
was going to say, when you guys do come down ever to do some filming, be sure to look us up and we can take you out to some of our hot spots.
Oh yeah, we'd love to. I'll definitely let you know when we can get down there. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I should just mention too, we're on Instagram and Twitter, all that good stuff, and we've got links to our personal. So if people want to follow like our personal research and the progress of the show, Sasquatch University on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome.
Very good.
And I also want to thank Joel for sharing his story with us. That was a terrifying experience, I'm sure. I'm not so sure it wasn't a moose though. You guys got moose near you?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of those.
Because they do.
I've
they're
never
big.
seen them in that area. Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Because when they swim, basically just their nose is going to be exposed to the surface.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it wasn't a male, they wouldn't have the antlers sticking out.
Or he could have shed his antlers.
Oh yeah,
April. They're right. They've probably shed them over the winter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert. I'm not a moose
possibility,
expert.
but in the area, I think
there's
very rare.
There's no moose in that part of Ontario, but
I am not minimizing your
there.
experience at all. I'm just using what I was taught by Todd Prescott about Occam's razor. Okay. and to eliminate all other variables. So that's something I'm sure he'll share with you if you get him on your program ever. But no, hey, I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight, and definitely keep us in touch and let us know what's going on. And we're happy to keep sharing some of our experiences with you. And if there's things we can do for you, you've got our information as well. So
yeah, reach out whenever.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, guys, and yeah, you guys too. If you ever want to get in touch with us about anything, so you know where to find us.
That's right, Ontario.
Hey,
Looks like I got to get my passport, huh?
I've got mine. Well, once again, I want to thank Ryan and Cody and Joel for joining us on Squatch Talks podcast. Remember, YetiBars.net. If you go and use code STP10 at checkout, you'll save 10%. And they're also having a sale right now, so you can get an extra 10% on the discounted prices already. So if you want to smell fresh and clean and not like a Sasquatch, go to YetiBars.net. And Nathan?
Yeah, hey, thanks for squatching.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Squatch Talks podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and give us a like, and stay tuned for more exciting stories on Squatch Talks.
Hey, thanks for coming on, guys. That was fun.
That's how we wrap it up.
That
Usually.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have you done any other programs so far? Or?
Yeah, we've actually done I guess a fair bit of like news and stuff in the past and other podcasts and things like that.
I was going to say, you guys are pretty natural behind the camera and on the mic. Joel's got his mic set up there with the pop locker and everything.
He's a regular professional. That one.
Yeah. Well, hey, I was surprised. I said to Nathan, hey, let me shoot him an email. If they're available, great. If not, we'll set it up another time. And it was real quick putting it together. So
yeah, luckily I checked my email right at the right time. So.
No doubt. Well, hey, if you were a few minutes late, I still would have had you on. It's okay.
Sure.
But hey, it was a good show. I think it'll be interesting. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Yep. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
It sometimes takes a while for shows that are here in the country in the US to reach it up to Canada too. So I know you guys sometimes have to wait for like episodes to air up there, on various channels. So, but hey, it's a beautiful country, and I've had some fun exploring the wilds of British Columbia. Like I said in the beginning, I don't know if you all heard, but that's where I saw my first one, and then I had my second I had a road crossing in New Jersey in 2010. So I'm not in the camp that I think they exist. I know they exist, and just having fun.
By the end of the show is that we have that, so we're knowers and not.
Yeah, I hope. Right? Yeah, I hope we get to that point too, and have it, obviously incredibly concrete encounter, and hopefully get it on video too for people to see.
That'd be great. But if nothing else, at least you guys will have fun getting outdoors and the camaraderie and sharing your experiences with others. It'll still be a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a lot of fun doing the show either way. So we're super excited about it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
If you become rich and famous, just remember us.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely will. you guys too.
We'll help each other out. But no, it's great to see. It's great to see young blood getting into the topic and getting out there doing it. You know what I mean? Us old farts. I don't know how much more we got. But if we're in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, look us up.
All right? Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys are up here, you let us know.
We'll do.
Definitely. All right, man.
Take care, guys. Have a great night.
Stay well.
Take care and
Stay
thanks
safe.
again.
That'll be a good episode. Yeah. I don't have to cry over my cast.
Yeah.
But I know I usually, give you time to warm up before we do any, official stuff. So I was saying I got an email from Sasquatch University. My bad. I was busy editing all day.
What are you editing?
All right, Nathan, you ready?
I'm always ready. Yeah.
I mean, I could keep them waiting.
I'm sweating a little bit. I look all right.
You look great.
You have yet to do anything I don't like.
Oh, good.
So,
well, thank
you.
What
am I going to do? Complain about you doing all the work?
Right? No. That's really kind of you. I'll let him in when he gets here. I don't know how it's going to look with 5 of us. We've done it before, but because 4 actually works pretty good.
Oh, perfect.
Hey,
guys,
Ryan.
Thanks for having us on.
We'll just say, Joel, good to meet you, but take off, you hoser. Isn't that what they say in Canada? No.
One of
Yeah,
them, yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Hey. Should we let him in now or make him sweat a little in the green room?
Talking about it.
We can make him sweat a little.
we could just talk about him.
How you guys doing tonight?
We're good. We're good.
All right.
So usually Nathan and I talk for like 10 minutes and 15 minutes just to get him warmed up. I'm not saying we're gonna do that now. We've been talking for a few minutes. I was talking to Jeff Meldrum the other day, and I was we talked for a while about TrackCast, of course, and then at the end I said, hey, while I have you on the phone, I said, I do this little podcast with my friend Nathan. I said, you think you might be interested on coming on? And he was like, yeah, sure. I was like, cool. I met him about 6 years ago in Ohio at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, and he was very gracious. My wife was like, hey, Miss Dr. Meldrum, can I get a selfie? He's like, sure, come over here. But yeah, and that's where Squatchy came from, the Ohio Bigfoot Conference.
That is awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. My wife wanted to take him home with us. I said, honey, wait till the end of the show. And I was just showing Nathan some of the molds we made here at my place over the weekend.
Wow,
Oh,
look at
nice.
that, eh?
That's a Pine Barrens cast from New Jersey that we made into a mold, but this material was supposed to be silicone. It's not. It's rubber. Can literally kill somebody with this. But it destroyed my original in the process. So
Oh man.
I'm not a happy camper. Just talking about the cast up would have been a good show. And so this sucker will last forever. We can make thousands of molds with this because it'll never break down.
Yeah. I'm going to get my beard people back.
You got to fluff up your beard.
It's starting to curl. It's getting too long now. It's starting to really curl on this side. I don't know. If it gets much longer, it'll just straighten the curl out, I guess. I guess I look fat. Walked into the restaurant the other day and the guy says, "What, are you trying to be Santa Claus?" I said, "Why? Am I fat?" You're starting to get a little tinge of gray in the side.
You too? Cut. But yeah, I reached out to
kinds
Jeff.
of people calling him.
Hey, I called my buddy Jeff.
Yeah.
All right, be serious. Okay. So if I'm going to use this stuff, obviously, I'm recording. Bloopers or not.
All right.
The family. Peace.
See ya.
Later.